Picture this. You're sitting on your couch, scrolling through your phone. Suddenly, you come across a video of someone attempting a crazy stunt, like a skateboarder trying to slide down a handrail. Just as they're about to land it, they slip and crash hard onto the pavement. Ouch! You instantly wince, clutching your own knee or shoulder as if you felt that impact. Why does this happen? Why does your body react to someone else's pain, even though you know you're perfectly safe sitting at home? Or think about this. Have you ever found yourself crying during a sad movie scene, even though you know it's all fiction? Or maybe you've started laughing just because someone else in the room couldn't stop giggling. It's almost as if we're all wired to feel what others feel, whether it's joy, sorrow, or even physical pain. This isn't just a random quirk of being human, it's a fundamental part of how our brains work, and it all comes down to something called mirror neurons. Let me take you back to the 1990s. Imagine a lab in Italy where a group of scientists is studying monkey brains. They're doing some simple experiments, observing how the monkeys' brains react when they reach out and grab a piece of food like a peanut. It's all pretty routine, but then something weird happens. One of the researchers grabs a peanut for himself, and to everyone's shock, the same neurons in the monkey's brain light up as if the monkey itself had grabbed the peanut. The monkey didn't move a muscle, but its brain acted like it had. This was a huge moment in neuroscience. It was the first clue that our brains aren't just built to understand our own actions, they're designed to understand the actions and emotions of others. This is why, when you see someone stub their toe, you can almost feel the pain in your own body. It's why a single person's laughter can spread like wildfire through a crowd. Our brains have this incredible ability to mirror what we see and feel in others. Think about the last time you were at a concert or a big sports game. The excitement, the adrenaline, the pure joy when your favorite band hits the stage or your team scores a winning goal. It's electrifying, right? That's not just because the moment is thrilling. It's because you're feeding off the emotions of the people around you. Studies show that emotions can spread faster than the common cold. Researchers have found that if a friend of yours becomes happy, your chances of feeling happier increase by 25%. And this doesn't stop with happiness. It happens with stress, anxiety, anger, everything. But this also means that if you're surrounded by negativity, you're likely to feel drained and upset, even if your day was going fine. Ever notice how just one angry driver on the road can make everyone else more aggressive? Or how walking into a tense room at work can put you on edge? These emotional chain reactions are no joke. They're the result of our brain's deep biological need to connect with and mirror others. Now let's talk about people who live with this every day, like nurses, doctors, or therapists. Imagine being a nurse in a busy hospital, constantly surrounded by people in pain or distress. It's exhausting, not just physically, but emotionally. And here's why. When you have to comfort a patient who is suffering, your mirror neurons fire up, making you feel a piece of their pain. Over time, this can lead to what experts call compassion fatigue. It's like emotional burnout, and it's heartbreaking because these are often the most empathetic, caring people out there. In fact, a study published in the Journal of Nursing Scholarship found that nearly 63% of nurses experience compassion fatigue at some point in their careers. Their ability to feel deeply for others, which makes them great at their jobs, also makes them vulnerable to feeling overwhelmed and emotionally drained. It's a heavy price to pay for caring so much, but let's rewind to something more heartwarming. Think of a baby. Have you ever seen a newborn mimic an adult's smile or stick out their tongue when someone does it first? This happens way before a baby understands language or words. That's mirror neurons in action. From the very start, we're wired to connect and learn from others. I remember hearing about a study where researchers filmed mothers making silly faces at their infants. The babies, just a few weeks old, tried their best to imitate those expressions, even if their tiny faces couldn't quite manage it. The simple act of watching and copying is how we all learn to interact with the world. And it's not just cute, it's essential for survival. Babies use this ability to understand facial expressions, know when someone is safe to approach, or sense when a parent is stressed. Let's move on to something you see all the time but might not fully understand: charisma. Have you ever met someone who just lights up a room? It's like they have a magnetic energy that draws people in. Maybe it's a confident public speaker, a passionate teacher, or even a friend who can tell a story that keeps everyone hanging on their every word. That energy you feel isn't just in your imagination. When we're around charismatic people, our mirror neurons kick into high gear, making us feel their enthusiasm, excitement, or confidence. This is why we find ourselves standing taller, speaking more confidently, or laughing more easily when we're in the presence of someone like that. It's not magic, but it feels magical. Researchers at the University of California have found that leaders who are good at inspiring others often have a natural knack for activating the mirror neurons in their audience, creating a shared sense of purpose and energy. I'd like to share a real story. During the 2015 Nepal earthquake, rescue workers described feeling intense pain and emotional distress just by looking at the devastation. Yet they pushed through, driven by empathy. One worker said, "It wasn't my pain I felt, it was theirs, but I knew I had to act." Their mirror neurons compelled them to help, showcasing the true power of human connection. But here's where things can get dangerous. The same way a great leader can inspire us, a negative influence can bring us down just as quickly. Social media is a perfect example of this. Think about how you feel after an hour of doom scrolling, jumping from one piece of bad news to the next. It's draining, right? Even if you're just reading about other people's problems, your mirror neurons are busy making you feel stress, fear, or sadness. There was a viral challenge a few years ago, one of those dangerous ones that teens were getting hurt over. Part of why it spread so quickly was because of this shared emotional experience. When a young person watched others taking the challenge, their mirror neurons made the experience feel real, almost like they were part of it. This can push someone to do things they normally wouldn't. Scary, isn't it? A study by the Pew Research Center found that 68% of social media users say they felt emotionally affected by the content they see, often feeling anxious or depressed. It's like emotional quicksand, and it shows just how vulnerable we can be to the emotions of others. But it's not all bad news. Scientists are finding that we can train ourselves to manage this. Mindfulness practices, for example, can help us notice when we're being overwhelmed by someone else's emotions and choose to step back. Simple breathing exercises can calm the brain and bring us back to our own center. This isn't just a self-help trend, it's backed by neuroscience. The act of slow, deep breathing activates the vagus nerve, which helps regulate our emotions and gives our overloaded mirror neurons a break. There's a beautiful story about a paramedic who had been on the job for 15 years. He said that the only way he could keep going without burning out was by taking a few minutes every day to meditate and clear his mind. He still felt empathy for every patient, but he learned to let the emotion pass through him instead of letting it stick. It's proof that even in the hardest jobs, we can find ways to protect our emotional well-being. Next time you feel someone else's pain or share in their laughter, remember, it's part of what makes us human, part of what makes our connections so rich and meaningful, but it's also something we have to understand and manage so it doesn't overwhelm us. We're all connected in ways that are deeper than we realize, and maybe, just maybe, learning to navigate these connections is one of the greatest challenges and gifts of being human.